Good morning. Welcome to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Gradick, your host. Delighted to have you with us on this Monday morning. We, as you may recall, last Monday we had Sammy Robinson in studio, and we previewed today's show. He's our connection to the Vietnam War Memorial that's being constructed in Dunwoody at Brook Run Park. We're very honored to have in studio, and she's on her way, TraMy Nguyen, who is president of the Vietnamese American Community of Georgia. But before she gets here, before we talk to TraMy, we want to talk to John Butler, who's board chair for the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association, and he's overseeing the management of the project, the construction of the War Memorial. John, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Steve. Good to be here.
A little bio on John, very brief. He served in Germany as a field artillery platoon leader, then in Vietnam as a forward observer for the 11th Armored Cavalry Regiment, and finally as a battalion fire direction officer for the 2nd of the 94th Heavy Artillery Battalion, positioned on the Laotian border. Is that how you say it?
Laotian.
Laotian, okay. Border near the DMZ. In addition to other medals, he was awarded a Bronze Star for the combat service in Vietnam, and is board chair for the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Business Association, with 250 members, all of whom are fellow Vietnam veterans. An ambassador for the Vietnamese Americans. He's managing the project on behalf of the Vietnamese American community to create, fund, design, build, and install a monument to honor both American and Vietnamese soldiers who fought and died in the Vietnam War, and hopefully completion early next year. His website, by the way, or the website of the Atlanta Vietnam Veterans Association, it's avvba.org. Well, again, good morning, John. Thank you for your service. Pleasure to have you with us.
Good morning. Thank you. It's great to be here.
I wanted to ask you, while we're waiting for TraMy, is to give us a little description of the Vietnam War Memorial. And for our Facebook listeners, we're going to be running a video as you speak, so they can kind of see it. And we are on Facebook Live. But give us a little description, John, about the War Memorial.
I'm glad to do that. When I tell people it's a Vietnam memorial, they think, well, there's a lot of those, and there are a lot of memorials, thank goodness, memorializing the Americans who died in Vietnam. But there are very few throughout the country, probably only less than 10 certainly, that actually memorialize and honor the Vietnamese soldiers who died in Vietnam as well as the Americans. So this particular memorial is one of only two east of the Mississippi that features a statue of an American soldier next to a Vietnamese soldier, basically watching each other's backs, and it honors the 300,000+ Vietnamese soldiers who died in Vietnam, and the nearly 60,000 American soldiers who also died in Vietnam, as we fought the same enemy and for the same reason, was to protect the South Vietnamese nation from communist invasion from the north. South Vietnam was a sovereign nation that was illegally invaded by the North Vietnamese, and it was supported by the communist China and Russia. And a lot of people don't realize that this was an invasion of one country by another. Anyway, this memorial is going to be in the beautiful Brook Run Park. It's a 100-acre park in Dunwoody, and there will be a memorial wall honoring the American soldiers that's about 12 feet by 8 feet tall, and another wall that's 12 feet by 8 feet tall honoring the Vietnamese soldiers who died there. And Sammy Robinson is the guy that's doing all the granite work for us. We really appreciate all he's done and is doing for us. The statue is being built now in California. It's a bronze statue about 7 feet tall, and we'll be having that delivered probably late this year. We'll also have a very attractive entrance walkway with donor plaques or granite walls on both sides of the entryway. So it's going to be a very attractive, soft lighting at night. The granite walls will have lighting and etching on both sides. So it has a lot to see. 100
acres is a lot of property. What does that allow y'all to do?
Well, the Dunwoody is a classy city, really, and this property used to be, I think, some kind of a mental hospital, and there's a huge acreage. There's pavilions. There's an outdoor pavilion. There's a skateboard park. There's a huge amount of activity that happens in this park. There's an existing memorial that Dunwoody has put in place that they're about to renovate, and it's it's a veterans memorial for American soldiers in general. It's on the same property. It's a circular piece of property in the center of the park, and this memorial will be in the same basic general area as that memorial. So,
how'd y'all get connected with Sammy Robinson?
Actually, Sammy, I met Sammy through a friend of mine who was working on the Cobb Memorial Project, and he knew about Sammy and connected with Sammy through that project. Sammy is also a Vietnam veteran, and he's also a member of AVVBA.
The work of AVAA, let's see if I got that right. Did I get that right? AVVBA.org.
Alphabet soup.
Alphabet soup. Briefly, tell us about that work, and you're board chair of it.
We have about 250 members, as you said earlier, and all served in Vietnam, most of whom came home and became professionals in some way or another, but all lived productive lives. And 42 years ago, a group of veterans came together and decided they wanted to have an organization that promoted the correct positive image of the Vietnam veteran. And by doing so, they felt like one of the best ways to do that is serve other veterans. And what we have found, almost by accident, is the best therapy that we have for having come back to a pretty tough situation when we came home from Vietnam is to serve other veterans. And it's very redeeming and cathartic for us. So we serve veterans of all ages. We have a scholarship program in place with several endowments in place to provide currently over $10,000 a year in perpetuity for scholarships for military soldiers that are coming off of military duty and going to live in a civilian life.
Okay, let's take a commercial break, and we'll be back, and we'll introduce TraMy just in a moment.
The customized academic scholar journey at Oak Mountain Academy is individually designed to provide students with a personalized, clearly defined academic track that earns the student a series of distinctions upon graduation. This journey enables academically driven students to pursue a focused, rigorous course of study personalized to their wants and desires. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to journey with us on the mountain. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. I'm Steve Gradick, your host. Delighted to have you with us this morning. We've got a very special program. We're talking about the Vietnam War Memorial. It's going to be built in Brook Run Park in Dunwoody with our own Haralson County Sammy Robinson leading it up. But we're honored to have in studio TraMy Nguyen, president of the Vietnamese American Community of Georgia and also president of the Vietnamese American Community of the U.S. And I understand that you've been pretty well the focus and the driving engine behind this memorial. But before we start talking about memorial, let's talk a little bit about you personally and your family. Tell us about your history growing up in Vietnam and what all that was like.
Good morning, Steve. Good morning, John. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me. It is an honor to be here today and share with you a little bit of story about us, about what we're doing. My name is TraMy Nguyen, and I came here when I was 17. My family came here in 1991 with my mom and dad and 5 of us. Since I came here, the story is different, but the background of us when we were in Vietnam, it was a little tough. I didn't have my dad for the first 13 years of my life because he was in jail. He was imprisoned, captured by the VC, the communists. After they won the war, they put a lot of people who served the South Vietnam in jail and have sent more than 2 million Vietnamese people to run away after they won the war. And sitting here talking about it, it's kind of reminding the old pain and, the days where we suffer a lot. My mom gave birth to me a few months after the war, which is in August 1975. She had to raise all 5 kids by herself. And my dad, because of my mom's pregnancy with me, he decided to stay. And when the VC came over, told him that, we just come to ask a few questions about what you do and what you job in South Vietnam, and we'll send you back. And that's what my dad assumed. But of course, we know it's all lied because he didn't come back. And my mom, she suffered and she went through a big trauma because they came and they took everything that they have. She only able to keep the house because it was under my grandpa's name. But they gave her a whole lot of hell and almost got her into committed suicide and took all of her children. But because she knew that she had to look after my dad and she had to feed him or come visit him here and there. And my name is named after a mountain and of flowers in Da Nang where he was captured. It's called TraMy. And when my mom came to visit him, and he said, if you have a girl, name her TraMy. And if you have son, name him Ki Sung. And that's where they captured him. For the first 13 years in my life, I was raised by the communists. I was raised that Ho Chi Minh is a hero of our country, that the South Vietnam was bad, that the American came over and took our country. All the history, was biased and twists. There was a lot of untold story, and I didn't know anything of that until my dad came home. And then I remember receive a lot of award in school, and all of that has the name of the Ho Chi Minh and the Vietnam communist name on it. And piece by piece, he tear it up and he told me the story. Did you know why your dad was in prison? And all of that. And so I learned about the Vietnam War through his story, through his friends or the people in our community in Da Nang, where at that time the VC still trying to get people, if you still have the mind of the South Vietnam, of anything related to South Vietnam is all destroyed by the communists and by the VC. In 1991, we were able to come to America with the program that's sponsored by the government to rescue all the South Vietnam prisoners to come to the U.S. So we came to the U.S., start our new life, everything from beginning, with no language barrier. All my brothers and sisters, they have to go to work. I'm the only one able to go to school here. And I'm thankful. I'm thank you for the opportunity and the chance that the America have given us to build our life all over again and to realize that the word freedom is not free. It's a lot of sacrifice. And then I got involved with the VSA, which is the Vietnamese Student Associations. We're trying to keep the culture, we're trying to keep all the heritage while abroad in the U.S. And then we learn more about our Vietnamese people, the South Vietnam, all of that. It came to us shocked, and it is my passion until today to do something about it, because we're the generation, we're the bridge to bring the gap between the history to get to the future for our children, because our children, they would not know anything about it. And they would think that we're here just because we're here, but we are not. We have the passport that we came here for a political reason. And we came here, we are very fortunate because a lot of people in Vietnam still cannot voice themselves because everything was controlled by the Vietnamese communists. So we're not against the country, we're not against the people, but we're against the government that have torture and let country used to be the pearl of Asia. That's what we call back in 75. But now, it's gone bad. And to tell you the truth, a part of it that they have built a lot of things and make a lot of change nowadays because all the money from around the world have shipped it back to Vietnam. So not only we're feeding the people or we helping the relative, but we're actually feeding and nurture the communists to survive until today. Because when they first start out, 95, right? 1975, starting 1978 to the 80s, that a lot of people escaped the country, realizing that, you know what, we got to run from the communists because that's not what they promised. So the story of Vietnam is still unheard, and they have cover because they use media. They control all the media to control people. So therefore, they cannot talk.
Americans don't know this story either, do they?
Not many. Well, not
other than John
from the
Butler.
veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So besides trying to teach the generation of Vietnamese that are born in America, it's really news to a lot of Americans. So the relationship with the Vietnamese soldier and the American soldier, evidenced by this memorial, was a good one.
It's good when you know the truth.
Yeah.
It's not good when you was told different stories. They told the Americans were there to take over the country. The Americans were there to take everything belong. So they raised patriots idea and they put it into the people mind, the VC, back in the time that you here to defend your country. But South Vietnam was really rich, really powerful, and was one of the most successful country back in the old day. There's no need to rescue.
And John said, which is rarely said, that North Vietnam, a sovereign nation, invaded South Vietnam, a sovereign nation. Is that true?
That is true. That is true. There were 2 times where the North have to invade and start coming to the South. It was starting in 1954. Mm-hmm. That's the first time they trying to came into the South. And then again in 1975. And to tell the truth, I don't want to use the word stupid, but they are. Mm-hmm. They know nothing. They think that they put into people's mind that the South is very poor. They have nothing. They don't have all the cars, electricity, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And when the people start coming in and they say, oh no, the South Vietnam need no rescue. They are very wealthy and they were, a country with fully developed. But it's too late.
So the entire time that you were growing up, basically the country was at war.
The country was after I was born in 1975. So
you were born right at the end of it?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I see.
The fall of Saigon happened in April of 1975.
And y'all marked that time. That's not forgotten on the Vietnamese, is it?
No. It's a sad day. It's called the Black April. And we call it because that's when we lost our country to the communists.
And clarify it for us, because I don't think many people really understand. American soldiers pulled out in 72, but America still supported the South Vietnamese army with air support and with supplies. But then somehow in April or 1975, Congress cut off all support, correct?
That is correct.
And then that's when the communists took over.
It was close. I mean, I wasn't born, but the history told, and I heard a lot about this. If the American have stayed just a little bit longer and just a little bit more,
mm-hmm.
We would have won the war and we have make a big impact. And because they target into the humanity, they target that there's no war between a certain times. And they did. They invade and they attacked the Vietnamese and the South Vietnam and the Americans, knowing that we are not fully capable to fight the war alone without the support from the Americans.
Why did America, with all the 58,000 American lives lost and all those wounded, why did America remove all that support in 1975?
What's the question, sir?
Why in 1975 did America remove all that support with having invested so much to date?
That's a political question, obviously, and I'm ashamed that it happened. But just to go back for a second, in the Easter Offensive of 1972, there was a huge invasion of North Vietnamese into South Vietnam, while shortly after the American soldiers actually pulled out, but we were supporting with supplies and air support and that sort of thing. And the South Vietnamese army was victorious over an overwhelmingly lopsided military from the north. So they proved that they could support themselves. They proved that they were good fighters and they could support themselves, protect themselves from the north, if they had the equipment that they needed to wage the war. And then as Congress decided to pull the support, including our current president, who voted for that, by the way, then the South Vietnamese had no bullets. They had no equipment. They had broken down equipment they couldn't repair. And so the North knew this, and they invaded again, and were able to overwhelm the South.
TraMy, bring us, because we're going to want to get to talking about the memorial, but tell us a little more about your family post-1975. What's it been like?
Tough, suffering, a lot of stress and pressure. Post 1975, I was just a kid. I don't know anything about it, but I knew that my brothers, they all have to stop able to go to school because they quoted as, Nguyen. In the Vietnamese, that means you belong to the past government, and therefore you not earn the education from the current government, which is the communist at the time. So at a young age, they all have to go out, make a living, do what they have to do to survive. So none of them able to go to school. My sister, who is 3 years older than me, and another one who were born in 72, their highest education is high school. They cannot go to college. And even myself, you put into a different category. You can't go any higher level. You cannot earn any excellent academy or money, because back in Vietnam, you have to pay money to go to school. The government don't provide that. And it was a lot of suffering. And I remember, I don't know exactly what year, but there was one time that one guy came to tell my mom, like in the middle of the night, that tomorrow morning, the office of Da Nang will come to your house and ask you to give up your house, and they will ship you to another area, which is called Kinh Tế Mới. It's what undeveloped area, and then you have to go then to start your life all over again. And the whole purpose for that is pretty much to isolate you to the area where it's not developed. Eventually, your whole family will die there. And he told my mom, whatever it is, don't ever give up. And that exactly what happened. In 7 a.m. that morning, they came with the whole army, told my mom that, this is a chance for you to start your life all over again. We give you a piece of land, and that just whatever here, just give it to us. And I remember we had pretty good house in the main street in Da Nang. And my mom just said, if you want to kill all us here, kill us. But we're not going to give up. And the only reason why they cannot take it, because it was under my grandpa's name. I think my dad kind of knew it before he left. And he transferred and he did all the paperwork. And those years was really tough. We're trying to make all the living. And when my dad came back, he was in jail for 11 years. and then also 2 more years under the communist supervision. Everywhere he goes, he has to get permit. If he move from one town to another, they monitor you every single move. They want to make sure that you don't do anything against the government. So if you say something bad about the government or the Ho Chi Minh, you get captured right away. And even till today, it's not something back in old day, but it's still today. You cannot touch or say anything wrong to the government. So my dad came back. And he tried to make a living. He tried to make a living here. I remember that he had to do like a bicycle just to make a living with all us. And then when we came to America in 1991, the end of 1991, we live in Grand Park, which is in Atlanta downtown. Mm-hmm. And then he worked at the market, at the fisherman, where you go into the market where you order fish, both mom and dad. Mm-hmm. And then I went to high school here, and I graduated. I went into the 12th grade, mm-hmm. and then I graduated with honor. And then I went to college. I got a Hope Scholarship, paid in full for it for the 4 years at Georgia State and Clinton University. Got my degree, and then got married to my husband, Wayne Pham. And then we started a business, and we've been in the business for 20 years here. And my passion for the community is I want to give back. I want to do something to our community, and to tell my dad that I honor your story. I honor everything that you've gone through, not only you, but all the South Vietnam veterans and also Americans who have suffered and lost their life during Vietnam War. And that mission and passion is still carry on today. And I'm fortunately to meet a lot of good people who support and be on that path with me.
We're going to go to a little bit after 9 o'clock to 9:06, and we'll come back and let's talk about the memorial. But first, let's hear these words.
Oak Mountain Academy is an innovative school of academic excellence celebrating a 61-year legacy. I'm Patrick Uran, head of school, inviting you to join us for our annual Fall Festival. On Friday, October 27th at 3:30 p.m., join us at the OMA Gym for food, fun, and fellowship. Costume, games, raffles, and competitions are just a few of our Fall Festival exciting activities. For more information, visit us at oakmountain.us. Discover your journey at OMA. Prepare, explore, and achieve.
Health is a journey. It's making better choices, even when it's not easy. It's taking care of yourself and the people you love. At Tanner Health System, we're there for you with every step, with primary care, heart care, cancer care, women's care, orthopedics, surgical services, and so much more. We're dedicated to helping you live and feel your best. So let's get on that journey to health. You've got places to be for many years to come. Find us at tanner.org.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Community Voice. We're talking to TraMy Nguyen, President of the Vietnamese American Community of Georgia, and also President of the Vietnamese American Community of U.S. There are 100,000 Vietnamese in Georgia, 60,000 Vietnamese in Atlanta. This memorial, the Vietnam War Memorial in Dunwoody, to be constructed. TraMy, what do you hope to accomplish by this? I mean, there are a handful of them in the country. Why is this memorial so important?
Steve, I can go on and on about why it is important, not only to myself, to the people in Georgia, but also around the world, especially in the U.S. There are a lot of people who have lost their life to protect South Vietnam from the communists. Not only the South Vietnamese people who protect their country and lost their life, but all the 58,000 Vietnamese Americans
yeah,
who came to a strange land at a very young age and never came back. And one of those stories was Sammy. Sammy took it to one of the park that he did for his best friend, who is his best man, and he lost his life in Vietnam after was there for his wedding. I've been in the U.S. for 30 years, and my only passion is to leave something behind, to let those know that their sacrifice never forgotten, and also to let our generation knows that freedom is not free, and we need to honor and pay tribute to those who have died during Vietnam War. Not only to those, but those that captured in prison and never came back or came back disabled and cannot start their life all over again. My passion is for the whole time that I involved in the community and doing what I'm doing. One thing that I want to finish is to have a monument, a memorial to honor both Vietnamese and American heroes that have sacrificed their life. And we tried so hard. We tried many years. We couldn't do it because there's always conflict here and there. There's always obstacle. But I don't know what happened. I met these gentlemen from AVVBA, especially John Butler. And then we met Sam. We go to different counties asking for their support, but it's always delayed. And then Jay Pryor introduced it to the city of Dunwoody. And the rest is history. The rest is more than what we expected. We're overwhelming with the support from the city, the mayor, the council, especially Brett Walker. And then within a short period of time, we put all this together and we got approved.
What would you say to Americans? 2 or 3 times you said freedom is not free. What would you tell Americans as they wrestle with the idea of giving up their freedoms? And how important is freedom to a country?
It is very important. It is everything. Freedom of speech, freedom of right, freedom to speak your mind, freedom to fight for the right thing, It's not available, it's not even possible in Vietnam for you to speak up, regardless whether good or bad, but as long as you're against the government, you are not allowed to do so. And so there's a lot of things going on back in Vietnam until today, and therefore the freedom is still not happening in Vietnam. And therefore in America, we have that chance. Why don't we carry on it? We honor those. There are a lot of stories that untold about Vietnam War, and a lot of them forgotten. There are a lot of veterans, American veterans, also the Vietnamese veteran that's still not able to do what they need to do or deserve the recognition of their sacrifice during Vietnam War.
I understand the country of Vietnam's not real happy about these memorials.
They're not. They definitely want to fight against it. Especially now, they send a lot of people because of the free trade, between two governments. They allow a lot of Vietnamese come to the U.S., but they don't come to the U.S. for a purpose of being a good citizen. I know they are trying to bring money here to build a business, but the end of the day is still going back to Vietnam, and there's a lot of money going back to Vietnam. We're talking about a few, like $100 billion per year.
John, with only a minute or two left, give us the website, wrap it up for us. If people want to participate, donate, how should they go about it?
This is a $1 million project, and that the AVVBA and the Vietnamese American community have partnered to produce. We have already raised nearly $900,000 of that. Much of it is in kind from some of the Vietnamese AVVBA members. And we are close to having the total funding we needed to finish it, but we have already ordered everything. It's on its way. If you'd like to be a part of this, you can go online to our website at vnwarmemorial.org, and there's multiple ways to donate. If you want to be permanently remembered on a granite wall, you can donate and become a sponsor. You can donate any amount of money you want to, and we'll be delighted to use that to make this thing happen. It's a great opportunity to provide something permanent that honors the spirit of the American involvement in this war and the Vietnamese commitment to their own freedom as well.
That website again is vnwarmemorial.org. This is on Facebook this morning. Please share it. John, TraMy, thank you for coming in. TraMy, thank you for telling us your story. God bless both, and we wish you the very best. And thank you for listening to the Community Voice here on WLBB.